So for this next reveal video, I'm going to just be compiling a couple of them together because they weren't really like video worthy of themselves. So we have like just tons of stuff here, a couple different structures, different tools and weapons and stuff like that. And honestly, this stuff sounds amazing. I'm really liking what I'm seeing coming out of Genesis. And if this is what Genesis Part 1 is going to be, oh my God, we're in for a treat for Genesis Part 2. I can already tell. So guys, make sure that you hit the like button if you enjoy this one, and yeah, let me know what you think about everything down below, because honestly, this stuff is really dope.
So next up for Genesis, we have a new structure, and the structure is going to be our ocean platform.
Yeah, so go ahead and make that transition, good sir. Luke.
And what this is going to be is this is going to be very similar to all of our previous platform structures, in that you can build on it, you can place anything on it. It's a foundation for building anywhere you want. The difference being that it floats on water. It's very sensitive to land. It can't be placed anywhere near land. It has to be fully in the water. But it will stay on the water, and then there's a giant hole in the center that you can fill up with foundations, or you can leave it open so that you can create a safety pin for any of your water dinos so that they're actually safe floating out on the open ocean.
Oh, man.
And this is one of those things that over time, it will degrade. You'll have to take care of it and maintain it just to prevent them from being a nuisance and just left all over the place, as we know people tend to like to do. It's going to have a very, very, very high structure limit since it's not a moving platform.
I'm sure people would like to hear that.
This is a place where you will be able to have your base out on the open water on the ocean. And then there will be 2 different size variants. We're going to have the wooden size, which is going to be a little bit smaller, with quite a large hole in the inside still. I think I can't remember exactly how many foundations across, but it's quite a few.
Yeah.
And then that will actually fit inside of the larger metal one. And the metal one will be much larger for a full size. You could build an actual full size base on this and live off of this raft with everything you need, and maybe even a few dinos for storage. So we're trying to give players a way to play on the water and be more in tune with the water in Ark. And then we're going to make sure it supports full attachments for ropes and all that, so you can actually get back on it. But yeah, that's our floating ocean platform. There we go. Tech remote guided missile. My apologies.
We're gonna leave this in the back.
This is a cruise missile that is a shoulder fired missile. As soon as the player launches it, they get to watch the missile go out and expand out into its full missile size shape, and then they assume control of the missile from its viewpoint and can direct it to wherever its target is. Once it hits something, that'll create an explosion, or you can actually remotely trigger it too early if you want for whatever reason. You're also not forced to stay in the missile. You can jump out and let it continue just going on its path straight from where it left. And it does quite a bit of damage, but it is a one-time use rocket launcher. As soon as you use it, it's gone. Very similar to like a Javelin type missile, but you're just remote guiding it in after that. It does get a lot harder to control over time. It starts to speed up. And then the missile itself can be painted on, it can be written on. You can use these to send messages
Oh, man.
with your gift of a missile to whoever you're sending that to.
Anticipate some of these messages.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And then the really cool part, and this is the beauty of it, is after you've hit, it'll do a nice little pan out so you can see the carnage.
Oh, nice, nice, nice.
Of what you've done.
Yeah.
Which can't be skipped if you don't want to watch that, or if things are a little hot at the moment. You know, you're in some heavy PvP action. This is gonna be cool. It's gonna be fun.
It looks like that trailer, or that, not trailer, but the teaser for it looks
Oh yeah,
pretty cool.
Yeah.
it's pretty quick. And if you didn't notice, there was a little bit of highlight around the pteranodons.
Mm-hmm.
Might have a little bit of assisted visuals to help you get to your target more accurately. But it's not a mobile thing. It is
Gotcha.
a missile.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So
So I think some
you gotta
concerns.
plan some things out
Yeah.
before you're gonna hit something.
Because I could see someone being concerned that it's very agile and you're able to, swing around and move around.
Yeah,
with
you're not
this
flying it
thing.
into a base
Okay.
and around the base.
Gotcha.
That
Gotcha.
would be a very difficult thing to do.
Gotcha. That's good to know, and that's good and feedback to give to people, because I can already see people cringing when they see that video. Like, oh.
Yeah.
Genesis item is our tech alarm system and pressure plate, and there should be something else after that. There's another one.
Is
Do we
there?
have another one?
Which one? If I just press this, it should be the next one.
Wait, don't
Don't do it.
that.
Swap to us real quick.
Swap
don't
away?
Swap to us real
don't
quick.
go to that next thing.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Okay, cool.
Swap.
All right.
Back. All right, ready?
Tech alarm system and pressure plate and.
And.
So
Oh, that's close.
we grouped these together because these three are very specific types of items, and they're a new type of item that we haven't actually had in the game before at all, and it's a tool item. These items all have functionality to detect things and have a reaction based on that thing. So starting off with the primitive pressure plate, the smaller one, you can see on the right side of the graphic there. This is just a pressure plate. As soon as something steps on it, it knows whether it's an enemy or whether it's a friendly or whether it's a dino, and you can set it to have any type of reaction you want to any pin-coded item.
Man,
So
it's
you-
like if this then that.
Yes.
IFFT.
So wait, time out. When am I being what are the rules?
So this is giving players a way to set up a reaction of some sort, either whether it be a trap, whether it be some type of surprise lighting. It's hard for us to say just how many things they will be able to use it for and what exactly they'll be able to do with it, because this is literally giving them a tool to create an experience. And then as you go up in levels into the tech alarm system, it gets into much more advanced, because now you're detecting at a range. The pressure plate only detects
On
things
that.
directly on top
Yeah.
of it. The tech alarm system has an area detection. We're definitely going to do everything we can to make sure that's visible and it's clear that what area is being affected. But you will be able to configure whether it's a radius that's getting affected, so a circle area or a square box, because we want to make sure that this tool is very configurable per the situation. And you can set whether you want to detect things in a large area or you just want to detect things in a very small area. And then you can set how big of an area you will actually trigger things. But these are all tools to get almost a machine system or a triggering system, a little bit of automation.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me. That's what it sounds exciting, because it
Yeah.
seems like it does allow you to automate specific actions or specific things. You could set up maybe a system of these. Maybe it's 2 or 3 and they all do different things. It seems pretty cool.
So the common use cases are obviously like dino catching pins.
Right.
And they work fantastic for it, especially just a simple pressure plate. You put it in the middle of a run between gates, and you just run through and only have it detect wild dinos, and as soon as that catches up to you, it can trigger both those gates to close shut. And now you've got your taming dino. But that's a really simple use case. There's so much
Yeah.
more that you can do outside of that, especially once you start adding turrets in and different settings for friendlies and enemies, or if you wanted to have just like a warning array to where you turned on lights because an enemy came close or because someone came close to let them know, hey, back off, there's a base here. Whatever that case is, but it does give you all those options
Nice.
to do those. The only requirement is that something works off of a pin code or takes pin code activation, deactivation, and then it can be triggered by these things.
Okay.
And then
Very cool.
The final thing is the tech jump pad, which is extremely configurable. It does direction and it does force or power, and then it can be mounted on any surface as long as there's enough flat surface there. It's not going to go in the mesh. Hopefully, better not.
Yeah, in the mesh. What is he talking about?
QA. No, I'm kidding. We will definitely be careful on that. And then it'll be very similar to a trampoline, but you're choosing where that trampoline is pointed and where it's going to launch you and how far it will launch you. So the use cases for this are also, up to the user. Like, it's only limited to what you want to do with it. But you can very easily set this up as something that will get you over some type of obstacle that, is too big to start building things on, or to build like a massive pathway to get up this giant cliff. Whereas you can just strap one of these down near the bottom of it.
True.
Point it at the right angle, give it the right amount of power to get to the top, and then just jump over. And it's there for you every time, and other people can use it if they want. But then you can get much more advanced to where you're setting up actual jump puzzles and
that's what my mind went to when I
or
saw
like
this.
pushing people through a jump trap or something of that sort. These are the things that are limitless. They seem very simple, and they have to be, because what they do is give you options and ways to control a reaction.
I love that one.
Do you?
Yeah, it's adorable.
Is it?
The,
I like the description of adorable.
well, they did an awesome setup and how to show off the benefits of the fishing net.
So can you swap to the concept art?
So this is our fishing net. We always want to make sure we have something for primitive players, the
love
lower
it.
scale players. We want to add something new to the early game. And one of the problems with the fishing pole is that it's very difficult to use without a chair, without somewhere safe to place the chair down. And then getting bait is very difficult. And it's more of a mid-game fishing item or fish-related item because you're getting loot from it too.
Right.
It's not the greatest loot. It's not the best loot that you can get in the game, but it's definitely good loot. And you need hard to get items for that bait. So the fishing net serves the purpose of the primitive player being able to get an easy access to meat. So anywhere you have fish, this becomes a great way to get fish meat. All you have to do is stand still in one place. You do a wind up, and then you throw it out. It looks pretty awesome as it spreads out, splashes in the water, and then as it's falling down, any fish that get trapped in that net will get caught. And then as soon as you start to pull in, the net closes, the fish are trapped, and the more fish you have, the more they'll actually start fighting back. So if you get a big load with a lot of fish, it actually becomes a difficult thing to do. You're pulling it back in and struggling, and they'll be taken back off in the water. Here we go again for everyone. A second look. This is a funny trailer, and it's so much better with sound. You guys haven't heard the sounds of Genesis yet, I don't think, but we don't hear the sound. The stream does, obviously, but when you hear the trailers with sound, it definitely sets the tone in a good way. But this is our fishing net, and then once you pull in the fish, based on how many fish you caught, how big they were, it'll give you a bunch of meat back in return.
Nice.
So then you can go out and get all your harvestable meat. It makes early game running around in those dangerous sub-shallow waters a lot more fun and exciting to do. And you can throw this from anywhere as long as you're standing still, and then reel it back in, and you got a bunch of fish.
Yeah, I can see this very useful in the early game. It's not, at least from what I remember back in the day when early game for me for art, it was not as easy to get meat in the very early game. It wasn't necessarily easy to find a bunch of meat to do things. So if this is placed, like you were saying, in the earlier game for earlier players, I can see this being very useful to get a good amount of meat, to sustain you or your dinos or whatever. It's a cool item. I like it a lot. Even there's even some RP stuff with it that you can do. RP communities, I can see using this. I'm just a fan of any primitive stuff like this. I love primitive items.
I wonder why.
I know, right?
Yeah,
So I love items like this and the pressure plate or the primitive pressure plate. Like those things, I love them. I would love a game full of them. Weird.
So where can you use these?
You can use it anywhere where you're above the water, as long as you're throwing it into the water, or up to about knee height on the player.
Okay, cool.
You can also throw it off a raft, anywhere that you can see fish that are within reasonable size of this net.
And just to be clear, you are actually catching fish here. This isn't like some magic trick where a fish appears underwater and you magically have it in your net.
They have to be there for you to catch them.
Good. Gotcha. Just want to clear it up. There are different approaches to doing that, so it is good to know that there have to be fish there in order for you to catch them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's fun to use too. We've done some interesting things with it, but it's very fun to try to start tracking the fish because they're always moving around and changing direction.
Yeah.
Especially if you challenge yourself to try to go for a further shot. And it's pretty easy to aim, so it'll be a fun item. Definitely improve our earlier game a little bit more, fleshing it out.
This is one that I play around with a bit again because I love primitive items, so it is a lot of fun. The first one I started playing, how much fun can this be? It's a little fishing net, and it actually becomes a lot of fun to throw that out there and try to reel something in because, as you say, you have to track the fish. They're moving in kind of erratic patterns, so you kind of have to time it out right and the length of it and things like that. It's really cool. So I know I would use it if I was still playing. So this would be something that I would add into my arsenal for sure.
All right, so let's start it off. Let's show them the next thing. And this is the mining drill.
Woo!
As we said, we're filling out the tech tiers. We've done primitive. We've definitely done tech with the cruise missile, and this is the mining drill. This is our machine tier. This is going to be a super harvester that will empower the player to be able to harvest whatever they want. It's an equipable tool that will rapidly harvest resources in front of the player who is using it. By pressing and holding the fire button, the mining drill will use gasoline, similar to the flamethrower, and it'll be able to harvest rocks, trees, corpses, crystals.
Pretty much everything, right?
Yeah, pretty much everything. It is a impressive laser, and it is also gasoline powered. So it's an affordable, high-tech item that gets you a lot. As you keep using it, it'll start overheating. and overheating will hit a phase where it forces it to cool down. You'll actually take a little bit of a durability hit. So part of the harvesting mechanic of this thing is just maintaining that heat level,
Gotcha.
not going too high, not letting it go overboard. And then if you use it on players or dinos, it'll actually apply a similar effect to the flashbang. So it's even effective in PvP if you want to use it that way, or just for trolling your friends, which is more common, the more common use case of any of these things. And it's a significantly capable harvesting component. Nothing will ever beat breeding dinos for harvesting, getting a bunch of weight in their stats, having a high melee dino that specifically is great at mining metal. They're always going to be the king of harvesting for that specific item, but this is a great filler item for people that have trouble bringing around dinos, harvesting all over the map or anything like that. You can just take a heavy weight carrying dino and jump off, use this to harvest, and then head back on home or head back around. So again, we're filling out as many of the core aspects of the game, and it's not all late game this time around. We're trying to expand the experience from A to B as much as possible and just increase what people can do in those different tiers.
I just want to be interesting because I know people have very specific harvesting runs that they do for specific materials, you know, and this will definitely, I think, change a little bit of that meta as far as the way that people harvest. It has the potential to, at least.
It's evolved significantly over time.
Yeah.
And it's changed quite a bit in some ways, and then other ways it's very, very similar. But a lot of the times you'll see some form of a Quetz with a platform saddle and a nice little ramp, and then an Ankylo or a Doed sitting on the front, just hitting away at rocks. And hopefully this gets another way to do something similar, probably, because you got to get a bunch of a bunch of materials in our game. That's just part of the game.
Ooh, I just want to say this, right? I just want to say this for everyone else. We opened the brainstorm chat to talk about things for Gen 1, and the very first thing I said was a shoulder cannon. And I thought I was totally joking. I was like, this is actually super cool. And it turns out that was such a bomb idea, and I was like, all right, amazing. I was like, I feel useful for once. But
Yeah, this has been a fun one to design and create.
And then Luke, can you swap to the PC, good sir?
And what this is the tech shoulder cannon. This is a weapon that attaches to your character via your shield slot. Once it's on there, as long as you have element equipped or in your inventory, it'll be able to fuel this, and it will have multiple firing modes, so you can set it from standard fire to rapid fire to sniper fire. And each one of those modes have different profiles that they maintain. The standard mode is actually a pretty wide scan, but it has a projectile that is fairly fast. It's a little bit more likely to hit your target. The further something is, the less likely it's going to hit, just because it has time to move. And it has like a medium range. Then the rapid fire fires a much more rapid projectile, or much faster projectile, many more per second. Has a higher fire rate. It is late at night. It has a higher fire rate, but sustained fire will overheat it, so it can only go for so long. And then the sniper fire is a much more condensed and charged up shot that will go further. It actually targets more directly in front of the player, keeps the turret focused, whereas rapid fire is a much wider cone of searching, more or less all the way around, at least where it can reach. There's a player's head there, so it can only go so far to this side, but it has a lot of degrees of freedom on the left. So it's something that will target any enemies, hostiles. You can set its preferences similar to a turret, like you would on a turret.
and you can set what it'll attack, and then just from there on out, you run around with this guy going and doing its thing. This is going to be really, 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 really big for PvP for sure. PvE also will just anything they're doing that requires damage. This is going to magnify that by
Play the video one more time.
extreme amounts. Yeah, definitely. Let's hit the video
let's
again.
hit it one more time.
This is also just a great piece of protective armor. Like wearing this means
Yeah.
you now have a heads up when anything that you deem is hostile and you don't want near you. You have a direct heads up that that's coming by. You start hearing the gun firing, and it'll let you know that there's something around because it'll start targeting. And once you're moving around, it's just constantly searching for targets. This is a fun one, and it's strong. It's very strong because it gives a person just extended power. It's another weapon that's firing for them at all times and targeting things.
Yeah.
Without your input.
It's like a personal turret almost.
Exactly.
Where it's just, on your shoulder.
And all you got to be doing is looking forward.
Mm.
The only downside to this is all of its projectiles, except for the sniper, are pretty slow. As long as you're not right next to it whenever it's being spawned and you're moving and changing your direction, you can avoid getting hit. But that's a much harder thing to do than it is to say.
Yeah.
Especially with our game, movement is a really easy thing to get, and most players have a really fast speed.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going, and our goal is to design this to be something that is dodgeable as long as you are moving. So someone coming in with these is just forcing you to be an also moving player, which is not something that is uncommon already.
Right.
It's just encouraging that play style. But it is a very costly thing to bring, and that means you have to carry element on you to carry this thing around. And it does work with any armor or no armor. So you don't need anything to equip this other than attaching it to your shield slot.
Which is cool. It may or may not be able to answer this. It is a very basic question, but if I have this equipped, will I be able to toggle this on and off? You know what I'm saying? Like if
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So it'll pop up from holding your E, your multi-use button. Once that wheel pops up, it'll have a activate, deactivate, whichever that toggle is. If it is active and you whistle neutral, that'll also disable it.
Okay.
Cool.
For those quick disables, like, oh no, that's a friendly person, or I forgot that it's on and I'm running around in a place that I'm not targeting hostiles, or I didn't
Right.
realize I had player targeting on, and you're talking just to your neighbor or something like that. We definitely are trying to making sure we find ways that everything's quick to turn off or quick to deactivate, preferably through a means that you're already familiar with.
Yep.
And everyone's used to commanding their dinos, so hopefully that'll be an adequate control.
So that is all of the little Genesis items and structures and weapon reveals. Honestly, some really cool stuff here. I love the tech shoulder cannon. I don't want to say anything, but a couple months ago, I definitely made a comment about the fact that I'd love something like that because they had the tech claws that we'd seen in the Genesis trailer, and I definitely remember making a comment. I'm not sure if it was in a video or a stream about having like a Predator shoulder cannon, and now we freaking have one. This is crazy. That is probably the thing I'm most excited for. I love the missile launcher as well. That seems really awesome, and the pressure plate and the alarm system. I feel like that's going to revolutionize trapping in Ark because everybody already knows there's so many different ways to trap things, but now we can automate it. Reaper traps are going to be so much easier. Just everything in general is going to be so much better with these types of items. But yeah, that's some awesome stuff. Guys, which one of these are you most excited for? And give me your thoughts on everything if you can, because I love reading through the comments and seeing what you guys actually think about all this stuff. And I'm sure Wildcard would love to hear your feedback as well. But yeah, that's it for today. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. I got another video coming up here pretty soon, and it's got some juicy stuff in it. So guys, stay tuned for that, and I'll see you then.